your op-ed that I read yesterday, 2 phone calls I learned, just 2 counts in New York. It was in the New York Times. You can go online and read it. And it was a very interesting take about being in our business where everything, has been so, carefully, handled in terms of COVID, and then juxtaposed against grade school and public school and how it isn't. And so talk to me a little bit about where you think things need to go.
Yes, I mean, obviously New York has been very, very hard hit, not just in terms of deaths and infection, but also in terms of economy. But, I ran for governor, as we remember, a couple of years ago, and it was really funding for public schools that was the motivating factor. And while I think Andrew Cuomo did a good job on some of the things during COVID, I think his daily broadcasts were really important. I think they were really informative, and I think they were really reassuring, as reassuring as he could realistically be. Yeah. And I think they were really especially important because there was nothing like that coming out of the White House. There was just misinformation, and I mean, it was terrifterms to be. And continues to, if anything, actually even be worse. Yeah. In terms of implying that actually masks are not only not helpful, but maybe, detrimental.
As he talked about last night about waiters wearing masks and touching his plates. It's like, you're so completely absurd.
Or that rally he just had where he was asked about, was he concerned? And he said, no, I'm on the stage. I'm far away from everybody. It was like, well, we weren't actually talking about you, sir. We were actually talking about the thousands of people packed in. Let's try and remember them. But again, one of the reasons that I ran, for governor was that we need money for a whole lot of things. And first on my list is education, but yes. We have a lot of very wealthy people here and a lot of very wealthy corporations. We have 118 billionaires in New York, which is 6 more than we had last year. And just during the pandemic, they've made $77 billion. So again, the place where I always have the most criticism of Governor Cuomo is that he steadfastly refuses. We have 14 really strong proposals about how we can raise revenue, particularly at this difficult time with so much budget shortfall, things that they are doing elsewhere around the country, and that we in New York have done in the past when we've hit recessions and hard economic times, taxing billionaires at a particular rate, or taxing millionaires and billionaires, or doing a pied-à-terre tax, for example, on homes that are valued at $5 million and up and are largely vacant, that are second homes.
Right.
There are stock transfer taxes. There are so many things that we can do and need to do, and it is our public schools just in New York City, never mind the rest of the state, are looking at a $3.3 billion cut this year, and it's never the right moment for that, but particularly at a moment when we actually, most importantly, need to be investing in terms of hiring more teachers, in terms of hiring people to actually clean, in terms of renting more spaces so that things can be socially distanced, in terms of getting tents and doing outdoor learning for as long as the weather stays good enough, and also having testing. I mean, we have, kids are not even in school yet. They'll go back to school until Monday. We have teachers, setting up. COVID tests were not required for any of the teachers or school staff. It was purely on a voluntary basis. And there is no contact tracing going on because they just don't have the money.